Kai had never seen anything like her. Even among the many strange species he had encountered across the galaxy, Lyria stood out. She moved with a grace that seemed impossible, each step measured yet fluid, as if she were dancing even while walking. Her legs, long and elegantly shaped, carried her across the docking bay with effortless motion, catching the light in a way that made him pause. He could see the subtle curve of her muscles under her skin, the gentle glow that ran along her limbs. She was alien, yes, but in that moment she seemed almost familiar, like a vision that had stepped out of a dream into reality. Kai's chest tightened. He wasn't supposed to feel this way. As a human ambassador on Thalora, his job was observation, diplomacy, and reporting. Admiration like this, personal, emotional, was a distraction, and yet he could not stop himself. Words spilled from his mouth before he could think to restrain them. "Your legs, they're stunning." The effect was immediate. Lyria froze in place. Her luminous eyes widened, reflecting the glow of the docking bay's lights. Kai expected confusion, maybe even offense. Instead, she tilted her head slightly, a soft hum escaping her throat, almost musical in tone. He could feel it vibrating against him, gentle yet alive. Her response made his heart skip a beat, his pulse hammering in his ears. "You see me fully?" she asked in a soft, musical voice. There was curiosity there, but also something else, vulnerability. Something Kai had not expected from an alien of her species, known for their stoicism and controlled demeanor. Her question was not just about his words. It was about understanding, about being recognized. Kai swallowed hard. He had seen many species in his life, but none had made him feel so small and yet so connected at the same time. Yes, he said, his voice slightly trembling. "I see you, truly." Lyria's eyes softened, and she moved closer, her movements still careful but less rigid now. There was a faint glow running along the sides of her arms and legs, like her body was responding to the emotion in the air. Kai had read about these reactions in the Thaloran biological reports, but seeing it in real life, feeling it, was entirely different. The energy radiating from her was subtle, yet undeniable. He noticed the tiniest details, the way her fingers flexed as she walked, the tilt of her head as she listened, the gentle rhythm of her breathing. Every small movement made her feel more alive, more real. And with each passing moment, he felt an unexplainable pull, a sense that this meeting was not random, that somehow, across the vast universe, they had been meant to encounter each other. Kai wanted to step back, to remind himself of the rules, the protocols, but his heart refused to obey. There was an instinct there, a need to connect, to bridge the gap between human and alien, to reach out. He could sense it in Lyria as well. Her stance was no longer defensive, her glow warmer, as if she were cautiously testing the possibility of trust. "I've never been told that before," she murmured, almost to herself. There was a softness in her voice, a touch of wonder. Kai realized he had not just complimented her appearance. He had done something far more profound. He had acknowledged her presence, her being, in a way that mattered. In that moment, the cold, metallic docking bay faded into the background. There was only the two of them, standing in silence, connected by something intangible but deeply real. Kai felt his chest tighten again, but this time not from fear. It was anticipation, curiosity, and something warmer, something that made him feel alive in a way he hadn't in years. He knew, somehow, that this meeting was the beginning of a story neither of them could have imagined. And he also knew that he wanted to be a part of it, no matter what risks it might bring. Lyria tilted her head again, her glowing eyes meeting his. There was a question in her gaze, a mixture of wonder, caution, and something that felt like hope. Kai swallowed and gave a small nod, silently promising to see her, truly see her, no matter what came next. In that quiet, suspended moment, the universe felt both enormous and intimate. Kai's words had been simple, yet they had opened a door. And through that door, something remarkable was beginning to step. After that first encounter, Kai found himself thinking about Lyria constantly. He tried to focus on his diplomatic duties, on the endless reports and observations required of a human ambassador on Thalora, but her presence lingered in his mind like a soft, persistent glow. Every movement she made, every subtle shift of her luminous form replayed in his thoughts, and he felt a strange mix of fascination and admiration he couldn't explain. Lyria, too, seemed drawn to him. At first she watched from a distance, studying his gestures, the way he interacted with Thaloran technology, the way he moved through the alien city. It was as if she were learning him, trying to understand his species in a way that went beyond curiosity. One day, Kai noticed her approaching him in the floating garden, a place where plants drifted in midair, their petals glowing softly. Her steps were as graceful as ever, but there was a hesitancy in her movements, a delicate tension that suggested she was aware of the bond forming between them. "Human," she said softly, tilting her head, "why do your words carry such weight?" Kai smiled, unsure how to answer. "I think humans we notice. We appreciate things. We speak what we feel, sometimes too quickly, sometimes without thinking, but it comes from the heart." She considered this carefully, her eyes reflecting the shifting lights of the floating flowers. Then she asked, almost shyly, "And what is in your heart now?" Kai felt his chest tighten. He had never spoken his feelings so openly, not to anyone, not even other humans. I think you are extraordinary," he said finally. "I feel connected to you, even though we are so different." A faint hum escaped her throat, a sound that seemed both surprised and pleased. Lyria took a small step closer, and Kai realized that this simple acknowledgement, this exchange of admiration and understanding, was doing something remarkable. It was breaking barriers that neither human nor Thaloran had anticipated. Over the following days, they explored the city together. Lyria showed him streets made of crystal that sang beneath their feet, and structures that shifted shape with the movement of the sun. Kai was enthralled, but more than that, he was deeply moved by the way she shared her world. She pointed out details most visitors would overlook: the subtle color changes in the floating petals, the rhythmic hum of the energy fields, the way shadows fell across reflective surfaces in patterns that told stories. Kai in turn shared small fragments of Earth, his home. He told her about simple things: sunsets on the beaches of his planet, the smell of rain on warm soil, the laughter of children playing in parks. Lyria listened intently, absorbing every detail. She asked questions that were simple yet profound, always seeking to understand not just the facts, but the feelings behind them. As they walked through the gardens one evening, the twin suns dipping low on the horizon, Kai noticed a subtle change in her posture. Her glow pulsed gently, synchronized with his own heartbeat. He realized that her species had a physical response to emotional connection, a manifestation of feelings in light and energy. And it was undeniable, she was responding to him. "I do not understand fully," Lyria whispered, "but I feel something when I am near you." Kai reached out, hesitating only for a moment before placing a hand near hers. The energy between them seemed to hum, a quiet, vibrant resonance. "That's connection," he said softly. "It's why I told you what I did that day. I wanted you to know that I see you, all of you." Her eyes shimmered brighter, her small hum of approval vibrating through him. Kai felt a warmth unlike any he had known, the kind that spreads through your chest and makes the world seem brighter. He realized that admiration, respect, and genuine interest could bridge not only species but worlds. As they stood together in the drifting garden, surrounded by the soft glow of alien flora, Kai understood something essential. Connection was not about similarity. It was about seeing, truly seeing. And in that moment, he and Lyria had found that rare and precious thing across the vastness of the universe. White heavy checkmark word count. Had never imagined that admiration could be dangerous, until now. The peaceful rhythm of his days with Lyria had been shattered the moment the Thaloran Council intervened. Their presence was cold, imposing, and mechanical, a stark contrast to the gentle warmth he felt when with Lyria. The elders' voices carried authority and disapproval. "You are disrupting natural order," they said in unison. "Your bond awakens instincts we cannot control. Your words, your presence. It is dangerous." Kai felt a chill creep down his spine. He had expected hesitation, perhaps warnings, but not outright condemnation. Lyria, who had been quietly glowing beside him, stiffened. Her luminous form flickered with tension, her body vibrating in ways Kai knew signaled fear or distress. The council's words were not just about protocol, they were about control, about fear of the very emotions he had stirred in her. I didn't mean to harm anyone, Kai said quickly, stepping closer to her. I only spoke truth. I only said what I felt. Lyria's eyes searched his, a mixture of confusion, fear, and vulnerability. Her voice, soft and trembling, said, "Human, my instincts, they are awakening, and I do not understand them." Kai's heart clenched. He realized that something simple, his honest admiration, had triggered more than emotion. It had stirred deep biological responses in Lyria, responses that her people had long learned to suppress. Her species, he recalled, was known for its control and precision, avoiding overt displays of feeling for fear they could lead to chaos. And now he had unknowingly challenged that order. The council watched silently, their eyes cold and analytical, expecting him to explain or justify his actions. Kai understood that reasoning alone would not suffice. This was not about facts or diplomacy. It was about instincts and the raw, undeniable force of connection. "I cannot control what I feel," he said, his voice firmer now. "I admire her because she is alive, because she is extraordinary. That is not a threat, that is truth." Lyria took a hesitant step closer, her glow pulsing slightly faster as if she were gathering courage from his words. For the first time, Kai saw her standing not just beside him but with him. Their proximity was not mere presence, it was alliance, unity, and the council noticed. Whispers passed between them, brief flickers of doubt. "You may not understand, Kai of Earth," Lyria said, her voice stronger now, "but when I am with you I feel freedom, I feel alive, and I cannot ignore this." The elders exchanged tense glances. Kai knew that in their eyes emotion equaled risk. Yet here was Lyria, glowing brighter than ever, clearly asserting her choice. His admiration, once a simple compliment, had grown into something profound. It had awakened her. Kai reached for her hand gently, deliberately. The council stiffened, but he ignored them. He looked directly at Lyria, willing her to feel safe, to trust him, even as the ancient rules of her people weighed heavily around them. Her fingers brushed his, tentative at first, then with increasing certainty. A wave of light radiated from her, surrounding them both. It was subtle, yet impossible to ignore. A signal of emotion, of connection, of something more than the council had ever witnessed. Kai realized then that he had stumbled into a challenge greater than diplomacy. It was a test of humanity itself. Could one human's honesty and admiration break through centuries of fear and rigid order? Could simple recognition, spoken from the heart, awaken trust and courage in an alien species? He swallowed, feeling a mix of fear and hope. "I will not leave you," he said softly, "no matter what they say. You are extraordinary, and I will see you for who you are always." Lyria's eyes shimmered, brighter than any star he had ever seen. In that instant he understood something vital. The council could try to impose rules, to suppress instinct and emotion, but what had been awakened between them could not be erased. Admiration had become bond, curiosity had become trust, and trust, real, unyielding, was far stronger than fear. And so the seeds of rebellion, of courage, of love were planted, not with weapons, not with power, but with truth, honesty, and the human heart. That night, the city of Thalora was quiet, save for the soft hum of energy fields that lit the streets in shades of blue and violet. Kai wandered through the floating gardens, searching for Lyria. His chest ached with worry. The encounter with the council had left a shadow over their connection. He had expected anger or judgment from her, but what he found was far more complex. Lyria stood beneath the glowing arches of a suspended walkway, her luminous body flickering with uncertainty. She moved with an unusual hesitation, packing slowly. Her head was bowed, and the soft hum she always made seemed irregular, almost fractured. Kai approached cautiously, not wanting to startle her, yet needing to reach her. "You're here," she said finally without looking up. Her voice was soft, hesitant, almost afraid. I do not understand this feeling inside me. I've never experienced anything like it." Kai stepped closer, keeping his voice calm, gentle. "You're not alone, Lyria. Whatever this is, it's natural. You're allowed to feel it. You're allowed to be alive in your own way." She looked at him then, her eyes shimmering like twin moons. Her glow pulsed in time with her heartbeat, or what Kai assumed was her heartbeat. "Human, you see me. Not just my form, not just what I am supposed to be. You see me truly, and it frightens me." Kai's chest tightened. He had expected hesitation, caution, maybe even fear, but the vulnerability in her voice and eyes cut deeper than he had imagined. He reached out, letting his hand hover near hers, just to bridge the gap without forcing it. "I am not here to frighten you," he said softly. "I only told the truth. I admired you because you are extraordinary, because you are alive. That is all, nothing more, nothing less." Lyria's glow brightened slightly and she took a tentative step forward. "It is not just admiration," she admitted, her voice trembling. "It is recognition. You see me, and it awakens something inside that I cannot name. Something my people teach us to control, to suppress. But with you, I cannot." Kai nodded, understanding more than words could express. He had read about Thaloran biology in his reports, the subtle energy fields that mirrored emotion, the instincts that could be triggered by recognition and touch. But seeing it in real life, feeling it around her, was overwhelming. Her vulnerability was radiant, and it called to something deep within him. "You don't have to understand it fully," Kai said, stepping just a little closer. "You only have to feel it safely. Let it exist. Let it be real. I will not hurt you. I will not judge you. I only see you truly." For a long moment, Lyria was silent, her luminous form flickering with irregular pulses. Then slowly, she extended her hand, letting her fingers brush against his. The contact sent a ripple of energy through both of them, a gentle, quiet force like a heartbeat shared across species. Kai felt warmth spread through his chest, his pulse syncing with hers in an almost imperceptible rhythm. "You are different from any I have known," she whispered. "And yet I trust you, perhaps because you are human, perhaps because you see life fully." Kai smiled, the tension in his chest easing. "And I will keep seeing you, Lyria. No matter what happens, you are remarkable and you deserve to be seen." She let out a soft, melodic hum, a sound of relief and recognition. Her glow stabilized, brighter and warmer than before. Kai knew in that moment that she had accepted the connection between them, not just the admiration but the trust, the bond, the unspoken promise of understanding. The city around them seemed to fade. The floating gardens, the glowing energy fields, the quiet streets, all of it became a backdrop to the simple, profound truth between them. That recognition, honesty, and vulnerability could bridge worlds, species, and hearts. Kai's chest swelled with a mix of awe and hope. In revealing her fear and her vulnerability, Lyria had allowed him into her world in a way no one else ever could. And he knew, deep in his bones, that this was only the beginning. Their connection was fragile, yes, but it was real, and real was stronger than fear. In that quiet, suspended moment, they simply stood together, hands nearly touching, hearts quietly aligned, and the universe felt full of possibilities. The following morning, Kai and Lyria met in the central plaza of Thalora, a place where floating structures created paths that twisted and turned above the ground. The city was alive with light and movement, but Kai could feel a tension in the air. The Thaloran Council had been watching their interactions, and today it was clear they would intervene again. "You cannot continue this," one of the council elders stated, his voice cold and commanding. "Your connection defies our laws. Your words awaken instincts we cannot allow. Your bond is unnatural." Kai felt his stomach tighten, but he did not step back. Instead, he positioned himself slightly in front of Lyria, his posture firm yet calm. "I do not agree," he said. "Admiration, understanding, trust, these are not threats. They are truth. They are connection. And I will not let fear dictate what we feel." Lyria's glow pulsed with a mixture of fear and courage. She stepped forward beside him, aligning herself with his stance. Her luminous form was brighter than usual, a silent declaration that she was choosing him as much as he was choosing her. For a moment, Kai marveled at her courage. Despite being trained to suppress her instincts, she was standing boldly, facing the council with him. "You humans speak boldly," she said softly, her voice resonating through the plaza. "You admit what you feel, you do not hide, and yet you are not reckless. You are truthful, and Her glow intensified, her energy vibrating in a steady rhythm. "I choose to be with you, to feel what I feel, even if they say it is forbidden." The council murmured among themselves, their rigid protocols clashing with the undeniable reality before them. Kai noticed the subtle change in the citizens watching from the floating walkways above. Some faces reflected awe, others curiosity, and a few even hope. His admiration had sparked something far beyond the personal. It was beginning to challenge centuries of fear and control. One of the elders moved forward, raising a hand. "This defiance cannot stand," he said, his voice sharp. "You will comply or you will be separated." Kai's gaze did not waver. "I will not step back. She has the right to choose. I have the right to see her as she truly is. This is not defiance. This is truth, and truth cannot be suppressed by fear." Lyria's hand hovered near his, trembling slightly, then moved closer until their fingers brushed. The energy that pulsed between them grew stronger, a quiet, undeniable force. It was subtle but undeniable, a bond of understanding, admiration, and trust that transcended rules or protocols. The council hesitated, unprepared for the intensity of such a display. Kai felt a swell of hope. He realized then that what had started as a simple compliment, telling Lyria her legs were stunning, had become the foundation for something far greater, a connection that could not be erased, an awakening that challenged the very structure of her society. "You cannot stop what is real," Kai continued, his voice firm and steady. "You cannot suppress what awakens life, and you cannot take from her the choice to feel, to trust, to be seen. I will not let fear dictate love or respect." Lyria's glow brightened, shimmering with warmth and strength. She stepped fully beside him, not just as an individual but as a partner in defiance, in trust, in connection. The council stared, silent and uncertain, as Kai and Lyria stood together, two beings from entirely different worlds, united by something far older than law or fear, honesty and heart. For the first time, Kai understood the power of admiration, of genuine recognition. It could challenge ancient rules, ignite courage, and awaken instincts long suppressed. What had begun as a simple act of honesty, the human heart noticing the beauty and strength of an alien girl, had grown into a force impossible to ignore. And as the twin suns began to set behind the crystalline spires of the city, Kai realized that the battle had not been one of violence or war, but one of connection. And connection, when nurtured with honesty and respect, was stronger than any law, any protocol, any fear. In that moment, standing together against centuries of rigid order, Kai and Lyria understood something fundamental. The universe often changes not with power but with courage, trust, and the simple act of truly seeing another being. The days that followed were quiet, yet charged with subtle energy. The Thaloran Council had not relented, but neither had they succeeded in separating Kai and Lyria. Instead, they observed from a distance, perhaps puzzled, perhaps curious. The citizens of the city watched too, and slowly, quietly, they began to notice the change as well. Something about the human's honesty and the alien girl's courage was shifting the air. It was no longer just about rules or fear. It was about recognition, connection, and life itself. Kai and Lyria moved through the city together as they always had, exploring not only the floating gardens but the hidden corners the council did not visit. She showed him the silent chambers where energy flowed like rivers of light, and the crystal libraries that stored knowledge in shapes and colors that no human mind could fully grasp. But Kai's favorite moments were the quiet ones, where she simply let him walk beside her, sharing thoughts, feelings, small stories of her past, and asking questions about Earth. "You speak of your world," she said one evening, "and I hear it not only in words but in feeling. You carry life in everything you say." Kai smiled, a little embarrassed. "I only speak what I feel. It's human, I suppose. We notice things, we appreciate them, and I want to share it with you." Her glow pulsed warmly at his words. "I do not understand fully," she admitted, "but I feel it, and it matters." It was in these moments that Kai realized the true power of their bond. It was not just admiration, not just curiosity. It was trust, growing in quiet increments, strengthened by honesty and care. Lyria's instincts, once constrained and wary, now responded with a calm vibrance. Her energy no longer flared unpredictably. It flowed naturally around him, synchronizing with his presence. Even the citizens began to see the change. Thalorans walked past them with curiosity, sometimes with hesitation, but increasingly with wonder. It was as if the courage of one human and one alien girl had planted a seed in every observer. That connection, when nurtured with truth, was a force far stronger than fear. One evening, as they watched the twin suns dip behind the spires, Lyria turned to Kai with an intensity he had never seen before. "I have lived my life under rules, under control, but with you, I feel free. I feel alive, and I do not want to go back." Kai reached out, taking her hand gently. The warmth that pulsed through her was quiet but undeniable, like a heartbeat of light. "You don't have to," he said softly. "We can face whatever comes together, and I will be here, always." Her glow brightened further, and she hummed a soft, melodic sound of approval and relief. It was more than happiness. It was recognition, trust, and courage rolled into one. Kai's chest swelled with emotion. He realized that admiration, when honest and heartfelt, could transform even the most rigid of societies, even beings who had never experienced connection before. The council watched again, and this time they did not intervene. Perhaps they understood, perhaps they could not deny the reality unfolding before them. Kai and Lyria's bond was no longer fragile. It was undeniable, visible in her energy, in his presence, in the small quiet acts of care and attention they shared every day. That night, as the city lights reflected off the crystal towers, Kai whispered, "This is just the beginning. What we have, it can grow and perhaps change more than we imagine." Lyria's eyes shimmered with quiet joy. "Then let it grow. Let us be what we are." Kai smiled, feeling the weight of the universe shrink in that moment. They had faced fear, rules, and the expectations of an entire species, and together they had found victory not in war, but in honesty, courage, and connection. And in the quiet glow of Thalora, two beings from entirely different worlds stood united, showing that trust and admiration could triumph over fear, that the human heart could awaken courage and light even in alien souls, and that love and respect, simple, pure, unyielding, were perhaps the strongest forces in the galaxy. Years later, Kai and Lyria would remember that moment as the turning point of their lives, and of the lives of everyone who had witnessed it. What had begun with a simple compliment, a human noticing the elegance of an alien girl's legs, had grown into something far greater: trust, courage, and a bond that transcended worlds. They had faced fear, rules, and centuries of rigid expectation, yet through honesty and admiration, they had changed more than anyone could have predicted. The city of Thalora had shifted, slowly but undeniably. Citizens who had once followed the council's strict codes now watched Kai and Lyria with curiosity and sometimes reverence. The council itself had softened, understanding that the raw force of connection and trust could not be suppressed. Humanity, in the form of Kai's honesty and courage, had shown them a different kind of strength, one that did not come from power or control, but from seeing and honoring life fully. Kai stood beside Lyria one evening on the highest balcony of the city's crystal towers. The twin suns were setting, painting the sky in hues of gold and violet. Lyria's luminous form glowed softly, a gentle rhythm that mirrored the pulse of her emotions. She reached for his hand, and when their fingers touched, a warmth spread through them both, quiet but undeniable. "I never imagined," Lyria said, her voice soft but certain, "that one small act, your words, could lead to this. That it could change everything for me, and perhaps for others too." Kai smiled, squeezing her hand gently. "It wasn't small," he said. "It was honest. And honesty, that's how we change the world. One connection at a time, one truth at a time." Lyria looked into his eyes, her glow brightening with warmth. "You have shown me that being seen, truly seen, is more powerful than fear. I have lived under rules my whole life, but with you I have learned freedom, and I want to keep learning together." Kai felt his chest tighten with emotion. He had always admired her elegance, her strength, her light, but over time he realized it was the soul behind the form that truly captivated him. Her curiosity, her vulnerability, her courage, all of it was beautiful in a way that transcended appearance. And now, standing together, he knew their bond was more than admiration. It was respect, trust, and a love that defied reason yet felt completely right. They watched the city below, where the soft glow of floating lights mirrored the stars above. Citizens moved through the streets, some pausing to look at them, perhaps seeing a reflection of what could be, a connection unbound by fear, rules, or differences. Kai realized then that what they had created was not just their own story, but a story that would ripple across the city, the planet, and perhaps even further. "You changed me, Kai," Lyria said quietly, her eyes shimmering with emotion. "Not just in small ways, but completely. And I hope I have changed you too." Kai shook his head with a soft laugh, brushing a strand of glowing hair from her face. "You have," he admitted. "You've taught me that admiration is not just about noticing beauty. It's about seeing the essence of someone, honoring it, and letting it grow. You've made me better, braver, and happier than I ever imagined." Her glow pulsed gently in response, a rhythm that felt like a heartbeat in sync with his own. For a long moment, they stood there in quiet harmony, two beings from completely different worlds, connected by honesty, admiration, and trust. Kai took a deep breath, looking out at the twin suns sinking below the horizon. "This is our beginning," he said softly. "Not just for us, but for everyone who will follow our example. Connection, courage, seeing each other fully. These are the things that truly change the universe." Lyria rested her head gently on his shoulder, her warmth radiating through him. "Then let us continue," she whispered, "together." And so they did. Through simple honesty, quiet courage, and the power of truly seeing one another, Kai and Lyria had proven that humanity's greatest gift, its ability to feel, admire, and connect, could transcend worlds. In their union, the galaxy witnessed something extraordinary, the triumph of trust, empathy, and love. The stars above shimmered as if in approval, reflecting the light that now radiated not just from Lyria, but from the enduring bond they had forged. And in that glow, Kai knew one simple truth. The universe had room for wonder, for connection, and for hearts brave enough to truly see.